also ahead. Protests over an arms trade fair taking place in London that even the mayor says is not welcome here.
We want to say no to war, that we have no faith in war to resolve our problems, both as a country and globally.
One of the world's largest arms fairs has gone underway in London this week, despite calls for it to be cancelled by local politicians. Protesters lay out in the rain earlier today to try to block people attending the Defence and Security Equipment International at the ExCeL. Organisers insist the event is important for British business and jobs. Our Home Affairs correspondent Lauren Moss has more.
Showcasing the best weaponry and defence systems that money can buy. More than 1,000 exhibitors and military dignitaries from around the world descended on London's ExCeL with a fanfare. But outside, it was a very different tune. Protesters braved the rain and glued themselves together to try and stop people getting inside.
So they're causing this disruption to try and in some way try and stop the sale of weapons. And we have caused in the past disruption to the setting up of some of the exhibitions, which means tanks, missiles, weaponry is not on display and therefore is unlikely to be sold to the countries that unfortunately include countries such as Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Egypt, countries of human rights concern.
Last year, the ExCeL was transformed into the huge Nightingale Hospital for COVID patients. Then it became a mass vaccination centre. But today, for the 8th year, it's home to tanks, laser guns, missiles and helicopters. The Labour Mayor of Newham, Roxana Fiaz, has called the event abhorrent. But opening the fair, one senior military leader said it's important for British defence, with threats becoming more digital, and it creates UK jobs.
I'm delighted to today announce that we have awarded 3 contracts to UK firms to produce and trial advanced laser weapons.
The UK is displaying the best kit available on the market too, but with so many weapons and so much defensive equipment available for countries to buy, there are calls every year for this to all be cancelled. London and indeed Newham is home to many people who have fled war-torn countries. Is it appropriate to hold such an event here on their doorstep?
Yes, it is. Defence is also a question of defence and the protection of those who are the most vulnerable, and you will well know that the history of UK deployments over the last 20 years or so has been much about trying to protect those who are the victims of conflict, as it is to establish and protect UK's interests around the globe.
Despite planned reductions to army numbers, the government says exports like this contribute £1.8 billion to the economy. They insist strict checks are also carried out before any foreign governments are invited. The Mayor of London's urging organisers not to host it here again, but it's set to stay for the rest of the week. Lauren Moss, BBC London.